Hey everyone, it's Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, the Growth Motivator. I am back with another book review. Okay, so listen. Last week I reviewed Deion Sanders' book, aka Prime Time. And once I finished that book, I'm like, you know what? Let's just keep it in the football space because the regular season is over, divisional playoffs started. So this week I am reviewing Malcolm Jenkins' book, What Winners Won't Tell You. Let me say that again. What Winners Won't Tell You. When we look at individuals, whether they're athletes or not, you don't ever really know the depth of what they've been through to get to where they are. So, speaking of where he is, so number one, he went to the Ohio State University, the Buckeyes. He was an All American. He won the Jim Thorpe Award as a senior. He played for the Saints. He was the number one draft pick, or in the first round of the draft for 2009. And I'll tell you, 2009 is when I was really starting to get immersed into football. Basically, you can say I married into football. My husband is a lover of the sport. And so that I'm not the nagging wife that's sitting there on Sundays and Thursdays and Mondays, not knowing what's going on. I literally have been all in when it comes to football. Am I an expert? Absolutely not. But I know a few things about the sport. So when I read this book, one of the things that, and I'll get to my five growth moments in a second, but one of the things that really stood out for me was that the book spoke to the heart of resilience. It spoke to the heart of leading with purpose. And the legacy that he's building will extend far beyond his life. So many different themes in the book. Now, if you are someone who says, I don't like football, let me just tell you, he talks a lot about the game, right? When I say a lot, and because I have been following the sport for the most part, I could follow along. If it was something that I didn't know, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool to research, right? But let me just tell you my five growth takeaways, right? So, oh, I should also mention that Malcolm is a proud member of Omega Psi Phi, which is part of the Divine Nine. So, I guess the first thing I want to tell you, and this is in alignment with the book, What Winners Won't Tell You, is that winning requires sacrifice. And when I thought about this, it really made me emotional because as an entrepreneur, as a leader, I've come to appreciate, if you will, that behind my stories of victory, there are other stories built in, right, of discipline, sacrifice, hard work. And in the book, Malcolm talks about success is achieved through commitment and persevering. And oftentimes, it's those moments when others don't even see or understand what's driving you. Number two, leadership is not about titles, it's about action. Let me say that again. Leadership is not about titles, it is about action. There were a couple of times in the book where Malcolm was the leader of a team officially, and other times he wasn't. And during those times when he didn't have the title, he was definitely leading by example, right? So walk the walk, talk the talk. He did it. Speaking of, if you do not like profanity, let me just tell you, He is definitely dropping some profanity words in the book. Didn't bother me at all. I was a little shocked at first because I actually was reading the physical book, looking at listening to the audiobook at the same time because I was kind of on the go over the last couple of days. But definitely enjoyed every moment of the book. All right, so number 3. Resilience is the foundation of growth. Let me say that again. Resilience is the foundation of growth. In the book, he actually kind of takes you from his early life growing up. He'll pan over to an NFL moment, then he'll go back to like high school, then he'll go back to NFL, he'll go back, he'll talk about college. And being resilient and navigating the setbacks is what really helps him turn obstacles into opportunities. Oh, turning obstacles into opportunities. All right, number 4, purpose drives sustainable success. Purpose drives sustainable success. So, what winners won't tell you, true winners operate with a sense of purpose. You don't even have to really know them, but if you see them in action, you're like, oh, yeah, they are definitely um, walking in their purpose. They're in alignment with their assignment. All right, number 5, legacy is built through service. Success isn't just about you, it's also about uplifting others. And so he proves that time and time again in terms of his nonprofits that he's established. In the book, he talks about during some of the murders that took place, how he was active with trying to work with law enforcement and just kind of just navigate that space. So I'm going to wrap up because I don't want this to be more than 10 minutes. So this book really emphasizes a lot about football, but it teaches you a lot about leadership. It's really inspiration for anyone who is seeking to achieve success. And I will tell you the main reason that I have this book, literally, I was watching a documentary on Netflix regarding a gymnast, the gymnast who is married to Jonathan Owens. I know you all know who she is. Her name is escaping me at the moment, but in her documentary on Netflix, I actually saw the book on her desk and I was like, let me read this. So, you know what? It's January. Regular season is over. We're in the post-season period. We're going into Super Bowl. And so I have been enjoying this January of just reading memoirs from sports professionals. So I think next week, my book that I'm going to read and report in on is by Stephen A. Stephen A., you know, he's a little controversial. So we'll see what he has to say. So as always, scan the QR code for a copy of my reading list to see what I'm reading. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and don't forget, check out my podcast, 52 Authors, 52 Weeks, which airs every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. See you next week.